The history of how this renowned spirit came to be and was exported across the globe is documented in the Diageo archive. Here, the origins of Tanqueray gin are captured in original handwritten recipes. For JOANNE MCKERCHAR, managing this extensive archive is a dream.
Now let's go back to the man of the hour, the man of many centuries, Charles Tanqueray. He must have been a really fascinating gentleman. What was he like?
The great thing about Charles is that we actually know quite a lot about him. So when he was at school, he was really interested in science, and that was his passion. So those were the subjects that he excelled in. But his family route wasn't what you would have expected him to then follow, because his father, his grandfather and his great uncle were all in the church. They were clergymen. So you might have expected that Charles would have gone down that road. But he decided to buck that trend and actually follow his passion, and that's why he became a gin distiller. So in 1830, him and his brother began working at a gin distillery, and this is the earliest thing that we have in the archive collection for Charles Tanqueray & Co.
That is fascinating.
JOANNE has a personal history with this building, as her grandfather worked here in the whiskey trade, but her focus is gin, and working with a team to identify new trends and develop the brand using the wealth of knowledge in these papers.
So, JOANNE, these are originals, not replicas.
Yeah, everything in here is original, so you really are touching a little piece of Tanqueray history when you come down these shelves. And I'll show you something here, actually. This book is really very special. So in here, we have all of the information and all of the company decisions that would have been made about Tanqueray. So this is what I would read to understand what the brand did, why they decided to do things. So everything from introducing a new brand, putting it into a new market. So maybe in here you'll find the first evidence of Tanqueray being shipped to South Africa.
Wow. JOANNE, this is so fascinating. I feel like a kid in a candy store, a different kind of candy store, but I'm learning so much. Now, Tanqueray must have won many awards before the ones I've come to know.
Yeah, it has. So to be honest, Tanqueray's won over 130 awards in its lifetime, and they are just amazing to see, and all because it's such an unmistakably amazing gin. The one for me that really resonates is the fact that we have won. We've been voted best gin by the bartending community for 5 years in a row, because really that's the stamp of approval that you want, bartender's favourite gin.
Yeah.
But you can see why. I mean, when you look at things like this, so I can pop this back. This is Charles Tanqueray's son's recipe book.
Wow.
So this is why we are winning these awards, because of the attention to detail and the attention that they are paying to what is going into that bottle.
That is amazing.
So we can't show you the original Tanqueray recipe.
I was just going to ask. Sorry, so where is the original Tanqueray recipe? Is it anywhere here?
Definitely can't tell you where it is. It's in here somewhere, but I can't show you it. And the reason for that is actually quite special. It's because the recipe really hasn't changed. So for 180 years, because Charles perfected that recipe of 4 perfectly balanced botanicals, the original is so close to what they are still doing today, I can't show you it.
Next time, guys, next time. At least we get to still enjoy the amazing drink, right?
These books document the use of botanicals and fruits, as well as many cocktail recipes, which are valuable to a man we met at the Vine Distillery. Jack Sotti is an international award-winning mixologist at the leading edge of gin innovation.
It's so cool to meet somebody who is as passionate about the brand as I am.
Likewise.
Well, you do have that Tanqueray swag.
Channeling my inner Charles.
I absolutely love it. You're the senior brand ambassador. What does that entail?
It's kind of a multifaceted role, but there's a lot of creativity, a lot of ingenuity. I do a lot of cocktails. I write a lot of cocktail menus. I do a lot of staff trainings, getting people involved with the brand history of such an epic, historic brand.
Jack gets to walk in the footsteps of the man whose work brought gin to the world.
It's kind of surreal to think that Tanqueray started his dream here.
I know, this is where it all began. And Charles approached his work like a chemist. So in his diaries that we've still got access to today, I think there were around 300 attempts to perfect his recipe until he finalized what we've got today. And that's a really careful blend of angelica root, juniper, obviously, coriander seed, and a little bit of licorice.
In the 3 years Jack has spent visiting hundreds of high-end cocktail bars around the world, none fit the description better than one on top of the tallest building in Britain. The Shard dominates London, and a highlight is the bar simply known as The View. As Emma Burt made clear, the setting is the hero.
Emma, this is London's highest bar, and I can see why it's so popular, because the views are absolutely spectacular.
Yeah, they really are. We're actually 800 feet above the city at the moment. The venue has 2 floors, 72, which is what we're in now, which is open air, so you really are amongst the elements. The Shard itself was opened in 2013, so it's only been around really for 5 years, but I think everybody feels like it's been around forever as part of London's skyline.
Among other skyscrapers the world over, the Shard stands out for its elegant simplicity more than its height. Just as Jack sees Tanqueray standing head and shoulders above the thousands of gin brands available today.
Are you partial to a cheeky martini?
To be honest with you, I've never really explored with gin. I've kind of kept it quite traditional, so tonic or grapefruit or even elderflower, which is so popular in South Africa at the moment.
Perfect. Well, we've got a lot of fun to be had. So,
yeah.
So the classic martini, you know, it's a recipe nearly as old as Tanqueray itself, which is really cool. Now, but it is quite strong. It's a stiff drink, so it's a really good kind of pre-dinner drink just to get you going, and you only need one to have a really good time.
Cocktails were an innovation born in the American saloons of the 1850s, and gin was the foundation. After a period of prohibition in the United States ended in the 1930s, it's said the very first cocktail served at a party in the White House was a martini.
That is light, simple, and not overpowering, but just perfect. I love anything pickle, so this is going to be just the thing that's going to end it for me. Wow.
So we've made our Tanqueray London Dry cocktail. Now we've got to go for the premium Tanqueray number 10. So for this cocktail, essentially what we're going to do is we're going to focus on that citrus heart of Tanqueray number 10, what makes it really special. And we're going to create like a little variation on the Tom Collins. We're going to zhuzh it up a little bit. We're going to go for some citrus, some chamomile-infused wine, our Tanqueray 10 with that citrus heart. I just elongate it a little bit with some dilution, essentially. So now we're going to get to the fun bit. This is where I really need your help. So essentially, we're not trying to rock this baby to sleep. We're trying to wake it up.
Okay.
All right, so hard as you can.
Hard as you can. Come on, Lorna.
Go on, you can do better than that.
I remember. I know how to shake.
It's serving a purpose.
Is it? Hello, shake. Hello, shake. Is that enough?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so this is the fun bit. Now this is where it gets a bit technical. Have you seen one of these before?
I have, in the kitchen.
Yeah, so it's a cream whipper,
Yeah.
right? So we're going to use it, instead of putting nitrogen used to make cream, we're going to put CO2 in it.
Nice.
And so essentially it's like an on-the-fly soda stream.
The perfect cocktail is part chemistry, part showmanship, and always the best ingredients.
You know what? It has all the amenities of what I make at home, but I know the detail and the flavor and everything else that you put in is completely different.
Listen, I mean, it's the reason why I got this gig, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, so what happens now? I guess.
I mean, we could drink them here, but I tell you what, if we go one level higher, we get an even better view and we can sit down and have a chat.
My kind of man.
Let's do it.
Cheers.
Cheers. All right.
What began with Charles Tanqueray's experiments has resulted in a bold, invigorating spirit that stands today at the pinnacle of gin.